Hey everybody, I'm here to give you my Survivor Series review for 2011's 25th anniversary of Survivor Series. And you know folks, I will say this. I was here for the first hour of it, then for the final 2 hours, if you will, or hour and 50 minutes, I was out somewhere else. Basically, I was attending a Thanksgiving dinner by my church, Adventure Christian Church of Patterson, and I had a good time, had plenty to eat and all that. But I got back just in time for the pay-per-view to be restarted. You know how they do the replays and all that. Well, fortunately for me, I have what is known as a DVD recorder, so I was able to watch where I left off. I basically finalized the DVD because I recorded the entire event live. I finalized it, went on to watch where I left off, and overall I thought the pay-per-view was pretty good. I know some people may have other thoughts otherwise, but I thought it was alright. For example, the opener, well, I will say this first. When is WWE going to get it through their heads, maybe, that if they're going to have a pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden or any any arena, whether it's the world famous Madison Square Garden or wherever on the eastern seaboard, especially northeast, with the exception of maybe even Boston or wherever, when are they going to learn that if you don't want, because I know they probably like the crowds doing what they do, like tonight in Madison Square Garden. But I think it kind of does, not only do they probably enjoy it, but I'm pretty sure there's some higher brass that, looks at the fact that, some other higher brass and all that like it, but then you got the other higher brass, in my opinion, that don't like it. So I'm just wondering if that higher brass is thinking, man, what can we do? Well, here's the honest answer. Whether you have a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown or wherever at a place like Madison Square Garden, you have your so-called franchise player or your face of your company, right now John Cena, come out and just basically try to win people over by saying, yeah, maybe I do suck in the eyes of you guys and all that. Maybe I do suck. Maybe I do suck in the eyes of you older demographic guys or men and all that. Maybe I do. Just try to get them on the side or something. But I'll tell you this, the Madison Square Garden crowd was very vocal, especially during the first match. It was Morrison and Ziggler for the United States Championship, which was a pretty good opener. Good back and forth action. Vicky got ejected because she had placed Ziggler's foot on the rope. So yeah, overall besides that, it was a good matchup, and Ziggler does retain. The one thing that really I think took away from this, if you will, and I thought it was really cool, because I love the way the crowd interacts. These kind of crowds, it really gets you talking about stuff. But to me, when you have your crowd chanting, "We want Ryder," and you have them booing a guy that's supposed to be over as a babyface, what does that tell you? I don't know. And more importantly, to me, I think WWE made a mistake by having Laurinaitis come out and do that little promo he did, even though it was short and everything. You don't have Laurinaitis, someone that's X-Pac Heat caliber, coming out and doing that. You don't. But the match, because it makes it feel like, as some people put it, like a Raw or a SmackDown. But anyway, the match overall, the first match was pretty good. Like I said, Ziggler won. Then Zack Ryder came out after Ziggler did a promo, and basically that got one of the biggest pops of the night. And basically Ryder was able to run off Ziggler and Vicky. So, looks like they are going to try to build towards Ryder and Ziggler probably at TLC. Let's hope. The next match was for the Divas Championship, Eve and Beth, and surprisingly, I guess at the last second they decided, you know what? We need all our divas on this show. So let's put them all on the show, and let's make it a lumberjill match. Well, that's what they did. And the Divas match, I know some people may say otherwise, but I thought it was okay. Not a great match, but it was okay. The only mark out moment I will say about it was the glam slam off the top rope, which tells me that WWE, by having Eve, I mean, you got to give Eve credit, guys, whether you like her or not. You got to give her credit for taking that bump the way she did, that glam slam off, for taking that glam slam off the top rope, and the way she did. So, but Beth does retain. It was, like I said, it was okay, not the best, not too decent, but it was okay. And people are wondering, okay, where do we go from here with the Divas situation? Well, if rumors are correct, if reports are correct, Beth will be feuding with Natalya next, and by the looks of it, it looks like Beth is going to end up being the babyface. I hate to say that. It looks like it. Just saying. Okay. Then we had the Survivor Series match. Orton and Barrett's team against, Orton and Barrett captaining teams against each other. I have to say that it was an alright Survivor Series match. I thought it was good, being the only one of the night. In fact, the crowd, that was like the second biggest pop of the night when they heard it was a traditional Survivor Series match coming up. It was okay. Sin Cara basically botched a move that caused him to get eliminated. But he wasn't the first elimination. The first elimination, believe it or not, was Dolph. Dolph was gone. And then Sin Cara eliminated because of the injury. And then just the eliminations came back and forth. It was advantage Barrett, Team Barrett, most of the time. Because after Sin Cara, we had Mason go, and then we had Kofi go, then we had Sheamus get disqualified. And then, like I said, it was advantage Team Barrett all the time, and it came down to basically Barrett and Rhodes against Orton, and Barrett ends up winning the match for his team. So it looks like they're really pushing Barrett to the moon, and if Barrett's the SmackDown star to win the Royal Rumble, that's going to be interesting. We'll just have to see if they continue to move with that. The next match was the World Heavyweight Championship, Big Show and Mark Henry, which I thought was a decent big man match. Good back and forth action, power moves back and forth, some good ground wrestling. Well, not good ground wrestling, but decent ground wrestling, if you will. You had some moments. You had Big Show and Mark Henry basically spear Big Show right through the barricade like he did to Sheamus at SummerSlam. And then you had Big Show, believe it or not, this really blew my mind. I mean, my mouth was like, almost to the floor. Big Show does an elbow drop off the top rope. But in the end, Mark Henry retains the championship by getting himself disqualified by hitting a low blow on Big Show. Then he tries to break Big Show's ankle again like he did at Money in the Bank. Big Show prevents it, but knocks him out with a fist, and then puts the chair on Henry's leg and ends up breaking his ankle, or injuring his ankle, by leg dropping the chair that's on Mark Henry's leg. So Mark Henry's still the champion, but ends up not walking out on his own power like Big Show had promised. And then we have the WWE Championship, CM Punk and Del Rio. Probably one of the best matches of the night. Good back and forth action. Both men mainly focusing on the arms of each other to set up for the arm breaker or the vice. The crowd was definitely behind Punk. You could see that right off the bat. And the big mark out moment was, at first, even before the match, was Howard Finkel being brought out to be Punk's announcer. So that might be a sign of things to come. But anyway, great match, back and forth. And in the end, CM Punk ends up winning by submission with the undercut device, and CM Punk becomes WWE Champion, celebrates with the crowd, and it kind of shows you, I guess, in some people's eyes, how much confidence WWE has in Del Rio, if mainly almost a month or so after having him win the championship, you have him lose it. You know, so yeah, so definitely a great match back and forth, but I think Del Rio is being mostly used, I guess, in the eyes of some as a transitional champion. If you can't, basically it's like, okay, if we can't find somebody else to put the title on besides the same old people, we want somebody different, let's just put it on Del Rio for about a month or two. That's about it. But yeah, CM Punk's the champion, and we'll just have to see where they go from here. Probably get the rematch TLC style at TLC. Then we get the main event of the night, the Awesome Truth, Miz and R-Truth against The Rock and John Cena. A great, I'd have to say it was a good tag team match. Maybe not a great one, but it was a good one. Rock definitely, as the crowd chanted, still has it. Definitely showed that he has not lost a step. John Cena, it was basically at first kind of like, hey, can you top this between Cena and Rock? Miz and R-Truth, give them a lot of credit. They really stepped up, brought their A game, really controlled most of the match by you know, keeping Cena away from his corner. So, you know, it was just, you know, like I said, it just brought the A game by idolizing, or yeah, something like that, or just keeping Cena away from his corner. But really, you know, got to give him credit for bringing their A game. But in the end, Rock and Cena do win, with Rock hitting the People's Elbow on the spine buster, then the People's Elbow on the Miz. And then we had a little bit of post-match interaction between Rock and Cena, both trying to, I guess Rock challenging Cena to a, hey, can you top this kind of crowd cheer, and then we end the show by basically having Rock bottom Cena. Cena's like, hey, you know, okay, you win this little challenge, this little cheer challenge, you know, I'm gonna let you have the spotlight. But basically what happens is Rock ends up ends up giving the rock bottom to John Cena to end the show. John Cena basically looks at him like, okay, you got one over on me, but, you know, your time's coming, kind of deal. So definitely is like, I guess as Michael Cole put it, definitely helps fire the first official shot in this leading into WrestleMania. So overall, Survivor Series, I will say this, for the 25th anniversary edition, I know I may get some flack for this. I'll give it maybe an 8.5 out of 10. An 8.5 out of 10. So, but that's overall. I thought it was a good one. 8.5 out of 10 rating. So that's my review and thoughts on the 25th anniversary of the Survivor Series. Comment down below. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with my assumption, my review, my ratings? If you don't, video response, comment if you like, and I'll talk to you later.